Hey guys, what's going on? This is Sam from Education Hunt. It's definitely good to be back after a couple week break from the action in there with 30-second lesson plans. Well, let's go ahead and dig right in. This week I have Highly, which is an awesome platform that I wanted to share with you guys. I covered and reviewed Highly, and one of the issues when I talked about engagement hacking, student engagement hacking, and this was one of the first tools that I introduced in that series. Highly has all kinds of potential, and it's based on the idea that the internet is a really big place, and there's a lot of content, and we can maybe do a little bit better about sharing and connecting with each other the things that we're reading. So it's kind of like I kind of joked, and I hope the guys from Highly don't take this the wrong way, but it says like Twitter for nerds. And I mean that in such a good way. Twitter is already for nerds, also in a good way. It could be bad, but Highly, in such a great way, really is a way to connect with other people and then share out the things that you're reading. So for me, as an educator, this just screams to be used. We're all familiar with the challenge. Kids are spending, young adults are spending more and more time on their phone. It is harder and harder to get students to engage with traditional text. The common concern, the big concern for myself and everyone else is that students aren't reading enough. That is a problem. But here's where I differ. A lot of people throw in the towel, they throw their hands up, say, all is lost. That's not it. I'm a little bit more positive. I'm an optimist, have been, always will be. And so I think that the smart teachers, the smart educators look for opportunities to get ahead of the curve. And I see that with a platform like Highly. Let me show you a little bit about the features. When you create a account, there's two ways to interact with content on the platform. One is going through the highlights, which is already pretty rich, and looking for what's been highlighted for you to go ahead and read and interact with. The other end is searching for people by username. So if you have a friend, you can share out with them and then say, hey man, I found Highly. You should really join because then we can see each other, what we're reading, and then go from there. That might be a little bit of a weird conversation, but it can be had, and the person probably would thank you. The other end is looking for people, or if you're on Twitter, I am on Twitter. I do love Twitter to connect with people producing content, and you can find them right here, so you can see what authorities in your industry are reading, and I think there's something to be had about that. So leaning into how this works, there's a Chrome extension, and it's based on the idea, like I said, internet's a wide place. You're already searching for content and secondary sources in class. My idea with engagement hacking for students is using this as a tool to engage students on their own turf. I'll use this article as an example. I came across this article that said, found that on average, young adults are now spending more time on their phone than they are sleeping. Whoa, that is crazy. So when I talk about using technology and smartphones in the classroom and with students to engage with content, that's the context, is that we've got a huge amount of untapped potential to get students to buy in, and Highly makes having that interaction and buy-in a little bit easier. So download the Chrome extension, you have your setup, and then what it allows you to do is then highlight text. And when you do that, it then saves the text, right? So as a teacher, you want to take a look at three features I'm going to show you real quickly. You can then find the highlights. The second is that little outbox. You can share on a number of platforms, or you can get your link, right? And then the individual. So you got a couple different things that you need to be aware of right there. Let's go back and then look at my profile. When you highlight it, so this is what it looks like. on the back end. You can see that there. And when you click on any of these highlights, it takes you directly to the article. So I think that's pretty cool. Going back to what it would look like, let's go ahead and go back into that article. We'll go ahead and toggle that extension. And so I want to show you what it would look like for your students. Right, when you send out that link, you see that, right? Average person now spends more time on their phone. It looks cool, and so it's banking on or betting on the idea that if we can get the content to them outside of the class when they've got downtime and it's right there in their face, hitting them on the head, man, how likely are they to go ahead and click that? I think the same principles of growth hacking can be applied to education. If it's there, if it's in front of you and it's interesting, the likelihood of you going ahead and clicking on that link increases as you send that content out. So here's my 30-second lesson plan. My idea for Highly, how I would use it in the classroom, is I wouldn't necessarily invite my kids to join Highly, although you could, and I think you'd be just as good for it. I would have my Highly account, and then the same process I'm already engaged in, scouring the internet for resources, I would then use my Highly highlighter, highlighting the text that I think is amazing, and then I would use a product like Pushbullet, Remind, or Starterfire to then share out those links. And then I would share them out in the evening when they're at home, sitting on the couch, doing nothing, looking for something to do. And the idea is that then they would click on that link that would help them in class. So the idea is that they would gain background knowledge before they come into class. And I think the big picture is that stuff like that creates an atmosphere where they can get excited and hopefully motivated to read more on their own and engage with your content. So to me, it's a win-win. That's it for my 30-second lesson plan idea. Again, guys, glad to be back after the break. Hopefully the next break will not be as long. And if you'd like to connect with me on Twitter, I'm at Ignite Duval at greater than 1,000. Send me an email, igniteduval@gmail.com. Definitely, if you like what we're doing or you like what I'm doing with Education Hunt, go on over to Facebook and search Education Hunt and give us a like and share out with your friends. And I think the biggest compliment of all is if you really do like what we do each week, I pick out 2 resources. I don't think anyone covers as much or in depth as we do. We give a write out, we get your kind of taste buds going, and then we pick out an intriguing but interesting third resource or website, and then I box it up nice and neat, and in 30 seconds you're good to go. So you got all the tech that you need to be way ahead of the curve. So if you like that format, please do me a favor. One, sign up if you haven't already done that, and then share with a friend and make sure that they sign up. That's the best compliment that we can get. So your next PLC or your next department meeting, if you like what we're doing, say, hey, there's this guy Sam that's obsessed with technology, and you really should sign up at Education Hunt. He's a big nerd, and so are we, and we can all be better for it. So until next time, guys, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you then.